this slight delay, but we had some technical issues that we had to solve. But finally, it seems everything is set, and we can continue our wonderful event, this PMOs Around the World conference. I'm Peter Mihok. I don't know if you could hear my introduction at the really start of the conference, but I'm Peter Mihok. I'm from Hungary. I'm a PMO enthusiast, and I welcome here to this group discussion on best case practices of PMOs, Dora Beres from Hungary. She is a senior PMO lead, PMO Global Awards participant as a contestant and as a judge. Porfirio Chen from Panama. He is a project program and PMO professional consultant, PMO leader ambassador of Panama, and he is the CEO of Project Management Consultant. It's a consultancy company in Panama. And we are welcome Athamneh, who is one of the top 16 PMO leaders in the world and the winner of top 4 PMOs across Asia Pacific region for 2 years in a row. Congratulations for that, Tahir. And as we are in a slight delay, let's jump in our topic. So, PMO best case practices, I would like to ask you as a start one more thing at the beginning. Please let me give Dora 1 minute to make an announcement. So Dora, please.
Okay. Yeah, okay, thanks, Peter. So before we start with our session, let me take the opportunity to announce it formally right now that we are starting a fantastic, let's say, event here in Hungary very soon, and it will be the Hungarian PMO Award that we are about to launch. I am in the happy position to coordinate this whole event going forward, and with the help of Peter and the team of professionals who we can consider the Hungarian PMO community right now. And so PMO leaders and those people here in Hungary who are watching this event, please be all eyes and ears in the upcoming weeks, because we are just sending out a formal communication about that, what it will be all about. Important will be that the winner of the Hungarian PMO Award and the winner of the Hungarian PMO Leader Award will be entitled and happily invited to take part and participate in the PMO Global Award that is coming next, which is a great journey. Americo talked about it already. So that was actually the announcement that I wanted to make, and that please check the communications in the upcoming weeks and all details will follow. Thanks, Peter, for that.
Thank you very much. And basically, the PMO Awards is connected or topic as well, as during the PMO Awards, PMOs are showcasing their best practices as well. And I would like to ask you if you can share some of your experience, what you have seen during your professional journey as a best practice within PMOs. So, Porfirio, if you could start.
Oh, thank you, Peter. Very glad to participate in this event. Here in Panama, the market is smaller. We're a small country, so we know our customers here. We started providing these project management services about 2013. And usually in Panama, best practices in whatever usually come late. But one of the things in our experience providing PMO advice to our customers, usually the customer expects what Americo stated before in his presentation is about perceived value. Customers expect the PMOs to be good at best practice. That's it. It's basically, it sounds so basic, but that is the main reason, the main factors PMOs are developed. They expect these professionals to be expert in project management and be good at it. And that's one of the things that PMOs need to understand before trying to design or strengthen their PMOs. And that's one of the things I tell my customers, that the reason they are there because they are supposed to be experts in project management. So whatever best practices they use, they need to be good at it. Another trend that another best practice I can share to you is that digital age has shaped the way PMOs operate. And nowadays, the PMOs here in Panama usually are dealing or struggling to service both adaptive projects, agile projects, and what you call traditional projects. That's something that the PMOs are evolving. We're looking at it, and we're helping the organizations do that transition to. But as America said in his presentation, and there is a perceived conception that traditional approaches is not good as the new approaches, adaptive approaches, and that's something we have discussed to the senior executive in the organization about it. That's a couple of things top of the mind I can share to you. That's something happening right now about the PMOs, the best practices.
Thank you very much, Porfirio. Let's move on with Tahir. Could you give us some examples of your experiences?
Yeah, sure, Peter. First of all, I would like to thank you and thank all the organizers for such a great event. I have the ownership to be here today. To talk about my professional experience first, I worked around 11 years so far after graduation. 6 years of them I worked in pharmaceutical industries, and I established their first PMO there. I was heading the PMO at that time. And through establishing a PMO for the first time in any organization, there is a lot to learn and a lot of pitfalls where I will share a couple of them in today's session, inshallah. Also, I jumped to PwC and I'm working right now as a consulting manager for many clients who wants to establish their PMO from the scratch, or if they have already established PMO and they want to tweak it a little bit. So as far as I have seen, I will try to share something very specific and I will avoid being general so our audience can take fruitful takeaways from the session, hopefully. So one tip, if you want to build a really strong PMO and you want to kick off a PMO from the early start with a very good feedback, there is some point maybe everyone know, however, it's usually missed, which is the organization maturity, sorry. The organization maturity is not taken seriously, okay? They are more concerned about the PMO maturity and the project management maturity, which is not enough if you want to have a good kickoff. You need to understand in a good detail what is the organization's maturity you are intending to establish a PMO there. So this is the first step. The second one, once you are in the phase of building your PMO service catalog, after you analyzing the need from your client or your organization, I would highly recommend, based on what I have seen, to build your service catalog gradually. Full house from the first beginning. So even if you know that you have the tools, you have the capabilities to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 services, which are meeting your client or your organization needs, still, I recommend to start focusing on the first 3 services as a start, then to keep upgrading your service catalog gradually based on your client needs. So this is the 2 tips I have from my side based on best practices to build or to upgrade your PMO.
Thank you, Tahir. Meanwhile, we received a question. What did you mean by the organization's maturity?
Yeah, organization maturity, actually, it could cover so many topics. But the most important thing I'm focusing on is what they know about PMOs. PMO means for the employees outside the PMO, the other managers, the key stakeholders in this organization, what project management practices they have ever used before. These kind of things you need to take into consideration, because back to America point, you cannot give a Ferrari to a cat, then he might do a disaster with it. So you need to give something with value, as always America explaining that you need to make sure that what you are delivering is being usable and understandable by the other stakeholders outside the PMO. Also, uh, it's not it's not it's not the major point. It's not about executives only. So many people leaders are focusing on the executives only. This is very important for sure, but it's not everything. You need to consider middle management and even below. You need to understand these kind of people, what kind of maturity they have, what and how they can interact with your PMO before establishing your PMO service catalog, before kicking off your PMO.
Yeah, thank you. This was really helpful to understand how to organize your PMO. And thanks for your examples. Dora, please, if you have some examples, give that to us.
Yeah, okay. So as I heard in the session during the session, what Americo made. So actually, it was also a topic how to position the PMO the best way, and how to position the PMO leader the best way possible, and how to turn the whole PMO and the PMO leader function to be like a change catalyst or change evangelist function. I can give you some examples and some good experience. So how I started with my company as a PMO leader. First of all, as I think every or most of the PMOs, we were doing some administrative type of support or providing administrative type of services. And then we just reached out to any sort of activities that were not covered by the company, like collecting all the changes that are happening within the company. So not only collecting information about running projects and programs, but also smaller changes. And we, as PMO, built it up like a comprehensive change list and a change catalog that we uploaded into a tool. And we started categorizing them and helped the business to prioritize them and build it up like a comprehensive list of all the changes and innovations that are happening within the organization. That made us really like valuable for the service that we are providing, and made us visible for top management as well, when we were presenting not only a list of like 10 or 20 projects that are running in the background and consuming our resources, but we were also showing so what are those rest of the activities that our resources are working on, like the smaller changes. So all I want to say is being like a change advocate within an organization and volunteer to pick up extra activities as PMO leader and add like some sort of extra functions to the PMO service can really make you shine within the organization. And for instance, in my case, it helped me to become part of the senior management team, then become part of the strategic planning team, because actually they just had to admit, the top management, that we have the major knowledge about what is happening within the company and what innovations will be raised. So actually the PMO really can turn themselves into like an innovation center without being empowered, because I never seen such a situation where someone is volunteering, reaching out to a work that the others do not want to pick up, let's say, and we want to do that, and I never heard that please do not do that, and we are not interested in that one. So I really encourage all PMO leaders to be a bit let's say, proactive and go for the extra mile. And in that case, you do not have to wait for being positioned within the company, but you can do that extra step to position yourself better within the company. And with that one, if the PMO leader is sitting on a management or a senior management level, I think, and is part of the strategic management team, for instance, you are close to the fire. And in that case, your team will be much more accepted as well and much more positioned.
Thank you. We heard some examples, and some of them were more, let's say, structural. Others were more bit mental or mindset or attitude, like tips and tricks from all of you. I would like to ask if, okay, we heard Americo's presentation there that there's no one fit for all, but still, can we or can you identify some patterns that is or can be used in general? For example, in your case, Tahir, or in your case, Dora, you mentioned these as a kind of general advice. Can we take this as a let's try it in every PMOs, or what do you think about this? Dora, please.
Yes, I think it can be. So everyone give it a try. Actually, if you feel let's say, if they feel the energy to do a bit more that is expected from you, and if you have the courage to, as I mentioned, to become a part of a top management team, for instance, in your position, I would give it a try in other companies as well. If for instance, I will be, I don't know, taking on a new role, for instance, in another company with a new PMO.
Let me take on the devil's advocate hat. And what if the, let's say, PMO is doing only administrative functions, which has no direct links to strategy or no direct strategy functions embedded in the PMO? Or what if the PMO is only a departmental PMO, not an enterprise PMO? In those cases, what can this be applied?
In those cases, I would raise it as a risk if the PMO leader doesn't have the oversight on what is the strategy of the business and what are the main milestones that should be and main goals, business goals that should be reached within the company. Otherwise, you are working maybe on projects that are not the most important one. So what I see really an added value of a PMO, that they collect all the information. They are aware of the goals and the strategic really targets of the company, and they help to focus on the most important works and topics, and direct also the resources into that piece of work, for instance. So so actually how I started my career, we were also working as an administrative type of PMO, and what I mentioned, that's as also Tahir mentioned, it was a step-by-step thing that we started to collect other type of information, started reporting like comprehensive type of information about what is happening within the company, what sort of projects are running in the company, not only those ones that are within our remit, but we try to give like a wider picture about what is happening in the background, and that generated some extra value that was after that praised by the company.
Tahir, that is what you basically mentioned by getting to know the maturity of the organization, to get to know what are the expectations of the organization, of the organizational management and the leaders, when you mentioned the organization maturity.
Yeah, definitely, Peter, and I totally agree with Dora, actually, to be proactive and to walk the extra mile, which is I totally agree. And also, I agree that it applies to every single PMO, regardless the details of the functionality of this specific PMO. And for the maturity for the organization, yeah, this is a one part only. Maybe you can consider also for the organization maturity, what kind of tools they are using, what kind of sophistication regarding the digital applications and digital business intelligence tools they are using, which all of these will play a role defining your service catalog and how you will deliver your services, because the how will play a big difference in the future.
Porfirio, am I right that you have established some list of service catalog within PMOs? Do you see
Yeah,
some links what you have done and what Thair has mentioned?
yeah, sure, of course. But I just wanted to give a specific advice, a little bit different from what Tahir and Dora said, but I agree 100% with both of them. When I start, before I opened the company, I was a PMO head of corporate lines. One of the things that really it really worked for me. And what America said is understanding the needs of their customers, their pains. And one specific action I did that worked for me was when I got my project managers. I didn't locate the project managers in one office. So I really, in corporate lines, as an airline, it's a big company. So one of the things I did was to place the project managers where the customers work. And the idea was that the project managers understood, or at least understand, uh, their daily work, their operations, their pains, and it helped connect the project managers with their needs, specific needs. That's a rapid gain right away. Most of the organizations try to locate the project managers in one place. That's something that you have to decide as an organization. It worked for me. So one of the specific actions you can do is to, when you start a project, a PM office, it's a good idea if you can place the project manager at the work site of the customer. And it brings a lot of benefits, specifically communications, better collaboration, and of course, the project manager understand the needs and pains of the customers. That information is very important to really develop the list of catalog of services. You pinpoint specifically what the services are. And so that's another thing that I think I can share the community that can work for them.
Thank you. Thair, Dora, I saw that you bow your head during what Porfirio said. Could you please explain what you are agree on this, or what you are really strongly agree? What he said?
I may start if you do not mind.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So I would just, I totally agree with Porfirio that the PMs must be very close to the customers in order to fully understand customer needs and requirements and everything. I would add one more function knowledge or mindset to be like a business analyst. It is also an example that I had the luxury, or I was in a lucky situation to build also the business analyst function within my PMO team, which just turned out to be a fantastic addition, because my business analysts were really those ones who were mostly talking to the customers. So they were the ones who did interviews about what pains they have, what problems they had. They helped them to prioritize and categorize all the issues that they were facing, and they provided us, like PMs, my PMs and myself, acting as a PM, with such a valuable and very useful information that we were then able to use within a project, and later on when we were building up the whole let's say innovation strategy list. So what developments and what further innovations needs to be made within the company in order to close all the gaps in the business processes, or to solve the problems. So it could be a good pattern as well to use this business analyst mindset. If you do not have the chance to build it up as a separate function, then also your PMs could pick it up, like this business analyst type of mentality, and it can really help them to understand the details and the problems very much in such a detail that it's consumable, and then it can be really helpful and useful for us in the portfolio as well.
Yeah, Tahir, do you have an addition?
Yes, in addition, actually, no. Yeah, I think Porfirio and Dora have added a very fruitful and valuable information, actually. But I totally agree with Dora and Porfirio that being close to the customer is the most important thing. It will shape your whole services, your whole service catalog, your whole structure of your PMO, and everything else in a very small detail. And co-location, which is a point Porfirio has just mentioned, it makes a lot of sense actually, and it can help big time in building synergy between the team.
Yep, definitely. It is a well-known method in other cases, not only in case of PMOs. Or let's say it was a great deal to bring this method outside and to bring this to the PMOs, and you could use that in your case, Porfirio. Okay, we are reaching the end of our sessions. We have a few minutes left, so let's move on to the questions what our audience asked. So let's see the first question. What I can see: could you please share any experience on the PMO's responsibility in agile transformation? Have anybody of you made an agile transformation with PMOs or through PMOs? Any experience? I don't have. I'm asking you. Tahir, Dora, Porfirio, any of you?
Yeah, actually, I don't have rich experience in this area specifically, how to change the whole PMO for an agile PMO. So maybe Porfirio Dora might add something on this.
Porfirio, go first if you would like to.
Okay. Well, I only can say that the customers, when I started my presentation, have struggled to move to agile best practices. Mainly because they started as we call it traditional project managers, the the predicted approaches, and right now there's a lot of demand here in Panama of project managers to have that know-how about how managing agile projects. That's a big demand here in Panama. So the project managers are really trying to keep up with these best practices at AS. I wanted to say because of the digital transformation projects that has forced the organizations to restructure their PMOs basically. And one of the things that digital transformation projects has created has a new type of offices. I think you mentioned it, Dora, is innovation offices. That's a different purpose from the PMO. So some other organizations has tried to delegate functions of the innovation offices or the PMO functions to the innovation offices. That hasn't worked out. So in my recommendation to the customer, they shouldn't eliminate the PMOs. That's something that is happening here in Panama. Some companies are trying to delegate most of the PMO functions in the innovations offices are another type of organization for other purposes. In fact, the resources that work there have other competencies right there, and that's we're trying to explain that to the customers right there. So what the PMOs need to do is to adapt. So adapt in the sense that they need to develop their own competence in agile approaches. So what they're doing right now is as simple as it might seem. They're taking a lot of agile courses. They're bringing agile consultants to the organization. That's something that really will help. There are two approaches that organizations can go. They will try to train project managers in agile approaches, or you can bring agile consultants into the organizations so that I can speed up the know-how about that. It depends what the organizations want. So I've seen a lot of agile consultants coming into the organization to speed up that know-how directly. And that's something that I recommend companies to, instead of trying to change in a fast way the project management roles, which are really traditional, I expect them to be experts within a short period. It's better to bring an agile consultants to start that process. That's my recommendation from what I've seen here in Panama.
Thank you.
I'm not sure if I have time to add to this. A few minutes, maybe, Peter.
Yeah, sure. As we started a bit late.
Okay, good. Because actually, I am also a certified Scrum Master, so I have some agile background myself as well. And we also, so my PMO team, we just actually checked, and we were talking about how to turn the traditional PMO services into the agile one. Then we concluded that it's not possible in one step, obviously, but rather we picked some good, let's say, good practices from the agile, like the early value management, which means that, and this MVP, I'm not sure if you are familiar with the word, is minimal viable product. So you can use actually also in a traditional project this kind of approach and mindset to concentrate on delivering, first of all, like a minimal viable type of thing, type of product or a service, the minimal one that makes your customer happy and satisfied. So actually, what I would go back to my previous also thought regarding the business analyst. Actually, we sent a business analyst to take part in the product owner trainings and train themselves to be an agile type of analyst as well. And they helped us a lot in identifying those early values that a project might deliver. And then we broke down the projects into small tranches or pieces and focus on delivering those ones who brought the best and the most valuable benefit for our customers. And so that was some sort of mix and hybrid of using the traditional one, traditional project management method and the agile one. Adding to this, we try to build up like a hybrid portfolio where we were also we built up a list or like a criteria how to select between the projects, which one could use some elements of the agile again, and which is not fit for that, because I don't know if the business needs and requirements are totally clear and we know what to deliver from the beginning to end, and there are no tricks and I don't know, unforeseen events during a project, then there is no such a great added value in turning it into an agile, but you can do it in a traditional way as well. All I want to say that I don't think it's black and white. I don't think it's good or bad. Agile is not better. Agile is different, I think, and it has a lot of added value that we can use also in a traditional environment and approach. Yes.
Thank you very much. Sai, anything to add to the previous agile story?
Yeah. See, Peter, I didn't have a practical experience in move from a traditional to an agile, so I don't want to speak so much here. But I would highly focus on the point that Dora just mentioned, that let's be careful about what agile means. And agile is not by must is a better tool. It is a great tool, but maybe it's not the best. It depends on your needs and your expectations. And following the questions, the role of the PMO for such a transition, I might say it depends on the kind of the PMO, or the service catalog, or the type of services this PMO is providing. Then we can tailor some some services to be for agile projects, and we can do traditional or waterfall approach as well from the same PMO. It can. But again, this is a very wide question, and it depends on the PMO itself and the organization that this PMO is placed into.
Well, in one hand, I totally agree. On the other hand, this would be a perfect end sentence for our session. And I can see there are a lot of questions in the questions log, but I am so sorry. We have to move on to our next session, which will start ideally within 1 minute. I assume we will be in a bit delay with that. I really would like to thank you, Dora, Porfirio, and Thair, for your participation on this panel discussion. And well, we will see if we can continue this discussion, maybe on a future event. Well, regarding the audience questions, I would say that please contact with our speakers if you wish, and you can move forward with your specific areas or questions. I'm pretty sure that all of our speakers happily share their experiences. As it was mentioned, maybe not in each and every cases we have or they have an answer for your questions. But well, we are living in a connected world. Let's get connecting more and more. And I'm pretty sure we will find some answers and solutions for your questions. And again, thank you again for my panelists for your participation. Yeah, let's move on to the next session. Thank you.
Thank you all. Bye.
Thank you, Peter.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.